On today's show, did Han Solo vote for Palpatine? Is the new Shazam costume worthy of the exclamation point? And James Gunn takes to Twitter to break Ash Crossan's heart. Collider Movie Talk starts right now. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome in to a brand new look and a brand new episode of Collider Movie Talk alongside Schnepp, Clarke Wolfe, and some other guy named Mark. I am merely Mark Ellis. We have a whole lot of stories to get to today. In our first breaking news, Ralph has broken the internet. That's right. Ralph Breaks the Internet. Wreck-It Ralph 2 has its first trailer dropped this morning, and we're going to talk about it right now. Jon Schnepp, with all apologies to you, some guy who was at D23 like me, got to see even more of this movie. From your first tease of this, how'd you feel about it?
Well, I feel like kind of ripped off because I was at Z11 and there was nothing there. They were giving us like weird hand soap, and they were like, "Hey, come on into this weird room. It's right around the corner." I didn't want to go in. So this trailer is amazing. I mean, how many years have we waited for Wreck-It Ralph 2? I forgot.
It feels like we've waited 4 decades for this movie. Yeah. When it came out, we're like, oh, we're going to get a sequel right away. And it makes so much sense that you're going from video games into the world of the internet, because that's what everybody does.
Yeah, they literally took us through Tron in the first 5 seconds. They're like, "Hey, what's this old arcade?" And gets plugged in, old man is like, "Look at all these games." And they're like weird biscuit shape floating through that. Where? And then they're in the internet with ads and everything that's annoying about the internet. They kind of like nail in the first 3 or 4 seconds, and they were off to the races. I cannot wait to see this film because it feels like we've got all these characters. We don't have to have an origin story for Ralph or any of his friends, and now we're going to get to make fun of the internet for 90 minutes. I can't wait to laugh my ass off.
Clarke Wolfe, it's directed by Rich Moore, who also did the first one. My question to you, I never noticed how much Jon Schnepp actually looks like Ralph. This movie just got so much more fun for me.
Yes, it's like you're a real-life Wreck-It Ralph. We have him right here.
Yeah, where are the pancakes that I could feed to the bunny?
It's great. It's great, especially the little mini one right here.
That's right.
I love this trailer too, and I'll be honest with you. Negative Nancy over here. I liked the first Wreck-It Ralph, but I saw it later than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was babysitting one night, and this little kid I was babysitting was like, "Let's watch this," and I thought it was cute, but I didn't love it. But this trailer made me laugh so hard, and I am legitimately excited to see this movie.
By the way, Mark Reilly's mom is going to pay you for babysitting.
Good, because I've been waiting for my Starbucks gift card.
Oh man, yeah, that'll help her a lot. And Starbucks gift card, yeah, you'll get 3 in that case.
I know you didn't have Starbucks for breakfast. I'm very disappointed to hear what you did have for breakfast. But while you were eating your breakfast here in the studio, you were watching the Wreck-It Ralph trailer, and some Honey Nut Cheerios came out of your nose.
They sure did. This teaser is charming. I adore this. I saw the D23 footage, and I don't want to spoil it because it is such a wonderful moment. So it's like I already know that there's so much goodness in this from what I saw at D23. To see this, they pulled back on that big scene, and they focused on the 2 characters, the humor, and the internet, like you said, Schnepp, and it's just great. I was laughing my butt off.
Yeah, I mean, there is a scene that Riley and I got to see at D23 that is not in here. And Riley, how do you feel about it without articulating it too much? Do you think that it's going to work in a trailer? Or do you think that they save that for the actual movie? Because I want to be around all of my friends when they experience it for the first time.
You know what? Inevitably, I think we're going to get that little bits and pieces of that scene in another trailer down the line. But for me, I wish they would hold back on it, because it's a great reveal. I think in the movie where it'll land will knock everybody out.
Clarke, I don't know what they're talking about.
Me neither. I was at L36.
It's L36 and Z11 right down the road in Anaheim at the same strip mall where Christian and I came up with the movie Trivia Schmodown at that pizza place. Well, the scene that Riley and I are talking about, we're not going to give away anything, but I love this trailer. I thought it was really funny how they introduced you to the concept of what it's actually like to walk through the internet and maybe get to meet some favorite characters, possibly even a Disney princess.
Ooh.
Somebody that knows a little something about romancing a princess would be Han Solo, and Han Solo has his own movie, Solo, a Star Wars story, set for release May 25th of this year. Speaking of dates, we now have a timeline for the Han Solo movie, and that is that it takes place after Revenge of the Sith, during the rise of the Empire. However, it's going to be years before the events of A New Hope, of Rogue One, or even Star Wars Rebels. For all you canon fans out there, it takes place in between the novelization of Tarkin and Thrawn. This is very interesting to me because I think they did a smart move, and it's kind of a no-brainer. I'm not going to give Lucasfilm a whole lot of credit for saying this is when this movie takes place. This is a layup. However, it gives you the widest berth as far as creating an original idea where you're separate enough from Revenge of the Sith. You haven't gotten to the whole rebellion from Rogue One and A New Hope. So now Han Solo can have his own adventure as these worlds are still starting to either crumble or build, depending on what political perspective you have in outer space. Reilly, I'm very excited that this is the timeline, but it also seems like a no-duh situation to me.
Yeah, it's a no-duh situation. I like it closer to Revenge of the Sith because that makes a lot of sense, and we're not going to have the looming Death Star. It should be. I don't know if we're going to ever see it, even the skeleton of it that ended Revenge of the Sith. With this being so close to Revenge of the Sith, though, I'm hoping for a little bit more prequel flavor. I know that might be like out there. They might be no prequels, and I've heard Disney is like, no, we're stepping back from the prequels.
What would that entail for you as far as prequel flavor? Because for me, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, maybe we get a younger version of Tarkin, which I would consider more original trilogy flavor. I think we might see some Vader, maybe Boba Fett.
It might be just revisiting Coruscant, seeing that planet again. It could be, I love how they brought Jimmy Smits in for Rogue One. That was the prequel flavor for me that I really liked, that connected it. Right. Something like that. Maybe a character shows up. Maybe it's they walk past and there's like a pod racer that, looks reminiscent.
No pod race stuff.
Well, no pod racing, but ships that are reminiscent of
like
that
a weird
time period.
chrome-looking Flash Gordon ship,
Maybe,
like the design
maybe.
sensibility.
Sure.
Well, that's what you get, though, with this, is that you're going to be able to have some prequel sensibilities, maybe leading into something that's going to be either the Rebellion or the Empire. But this does give this movie the most amount of freedom to play within the Star Wars universe, because we don't have a lot of things that we could have done differently in Rogue One. I think Rogue One did the most world building and mythology adding it possibly could have done, having been so close to the events of A New Hope. Right. What does this mean for the Han Solo movie?
Well, for me, I don't know about all you Star Wars book readers out there. It's between Tarkin and Thrawn.
That's literally what Christian Harloff's doing in his office right now.
He's like thumbing through the beginning of Thrawn, looking for clues and stuff.
And to his credit, he loves Tarkin. Apparently, Tarkin is like one of the best Star Wars novels.
You know what? I love the idea of Tarkin. I do not want to see another CG Tarkin flombering around with human beings. Like, my mouth is all weird. Right. I don't want to see a younger CG Tarkin. I just don't want to see any more of that. So hopefully they're not doing that, but I'm looking forward to seeing Han Solo do the Kessel Run. That's as close as a pod race that I want to get to.
That's what you'll get.
Yeah, Clarke, are we going to see newspaper headlines in outer space with Kessel Run record broken? Is that the kind of stuff we're getting in this?
All the space tweets that you're going to be seeing. It's going to be a viral moment.
Yes.
It's a hoax. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Hashtag release the release the Kessel.
Parsecs are fake news.
No, but so you guys know I don't like Rogue One. For many reasons.
All right.
But part of the reason was to me, I didn't need all of that original trilogy flavor in there. I kind of want these standalone movies to actually be standalone movies as much as they possibly can within the greater universe. And so I like the idea that we're hearing that it's going to take place far before the event, like closer to Revenge of the Sith than it would be A New Hope.
Okay, so here's the question, though. There's going to be some sort of familiarity because we know we get Lando, we know we see Chewie. Is that enough? Is that enough? Are we going to have a cameo by our two favorite droids, C-3PO and R2-D2? They've been in every Star Wars movie thus far. I didn't think it felt shoehorned in. I thought it was a nice, cute little cameo in Rogue One. Did you feel the same way? Do you think that if they try to get them into Han Solo, it's going to be overkill?
See, this is the thing. I want these movies to not need all of those. Like, I understand that we're going to see a young Lando, and it's in the Star Wars universe. We're not going to ever get away with that, and I don't want them to. But I want these movies to be strong enough to where they can stand on their own, to where we don't need all of these. The cameos are distracting for me, and I think that the Star Wars franchise, if they want to continue going forward with a new movie every year, they need to stop kind of playing riffs off, like sampling the classics. Just go forward.
If anyone's going to sample anything, it has to be Han Solo. It's already a sample. It's already got a younger Lando, a younger Chewie. Yeah. So I myself personally don't mind if they throw in R2's on a spaceship, or it's like, to me, that doesn't bother me. I agree with you when we get the Disney Knights of the Old Republic, whatever the Game of Thrones ones. I don't want to see C-3PO. In fact, he wasn't built yet. Hopefully, it's an older version.
Young Anakin Skywalker hadn't built C-3PO at that point. So Schnepp and Clarke, let me throw a couple characters at you, then you guys tell me whether you want to see this person in the Han Solo movie or not. Okay, Boba Fett.
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
Thrawn.
I don't know what that is.
A blue guy, cool. He's a good villain. Whatever.
Darth Vader.
Yes.
Who? Just
Tarkin. Grand Moff Tarkin.
Absolutely not.
Not CG. No.
No CG
It's
Tarkin.
Uncanny Valley. Not
Okay.
into
And
it.
It's
the
scary.
big
I'll
one.
go run out of the theater
A
crying.
skeleton of the Death Star.
No.
Riley, you said you wanted to see some Death Star.
I didn't say Death Star. I said maybe they could show it, but not Death Star. Yes to Boba Fett. No to Darth Vader. We did that.
Yeah,
it's
we
fine.
did that.
We did that with Rogue One. We don't need to. So we got that amazing moment at the end of Rogue One. You got your Vader fix. Let's
I
move
would
on.
agree with that. I'd actually be up for seeing a quick cameo by a Thrawn or a Tarkin, but Vader, I have a feeling you're going to see Vader. He's like going to walk by, or he's like you see him go into the bathroom, and you're like, oh, that's the guy.
Yeah, there is a rumor that it's like they used an actor in the Darth Vader suit. Now, I could picture it. It's like Han and Chewie far away looking like, whoa, there's some Imperial presence, and there's Vader, and he gets on the ship.
If it's Tarkin, do you want a new actor, or do you want to go back to more CG de-aging of a dead man?
I'm cool with de-aging a dead guy. I'm sorry. I don't mind de-aging a dead dude as long as his estate signs off on it. I like that they took the shot in Rogue One. I thought it looked good enough. Good enough. I want to see.
Shudders.
I want to see
Shudders.
Tarkin. I mean, to be honest with you guys, I don't want to see a whole lot of up close with the Empire, which is why I was shocked when we saw the Super Bowl ad for the first time. It was Han Solo having a job interview at the Empire. So I like that, but I want to see more of the Millennium Falcon maybe running away from a Star Destroyer and getting out of that. But I'd like to see a story where you have a space pirate group that Han Solo is a part of. He joins up with Chewie. Lando fits in there somewhere, and they have some sort of mission that is not involved with the Empire, but maybe they're stealing spices from the Empire. I like the Empire tertiary involvement at best with this movie, which does open itself to a cameo.
Well, I mean, they kind of almost say, you know what you are? Oh, go ahead and say it. She's going to say he's a scoundrel. They have to make him kind of a bad guy. He's an anti-hero. He's smuggling stuff. They've got to introduce Jabba. They have all these things that they kind of have. The underbelly of the Star Wars universe is where Solo lived until Star Wars. And that's what I want to see.
I am glad you brought up Jabba the Hutt, Ralph, because I think we are going to see Jabba the Hutt in there. And I do have good news for everybody. This probably isn't shocking to anybody, but I will guarantee you this. In Solo's Star Wars story, Chewie will survive. The dog is going to live. The same cannot be said for Groot, unfortunately, at the end of the first Guardians of the Galaxy, if Twitter is to be believed. We've had a lot of breaking news from Twitter. If that's the way things are going to be going, bring on the apocalypse, I guess. So there was a Twitter exchange between Ash Crossan, who you guys probably know. You've seen her on Jedi Council. She's great on Entertainment Tonight. She loves the Allagash Brewing Company. And she took to Twitter to display her love of porgs, asking a simple question. You can only keep one in the quote tweet. Would you keep a porg or would you keep baby Groot? And then Allie Slate, who's actually a huge fan of Collider Video, she had a very cavalier response saying, you can grow Groot back as evidenced in the movie, so once you kill a porg, it's gone. And then James Gunn came back with the shot heard round the social media universe. Groot is dead. Baby Groot is his son. What? Jon Schnepp, say it ain't so. Is this what you always assumed, or is this a huge landmark? Do you remember where you were the day you found out Groot was dead?
I was in the theater, and I watched him die. Yeah, I mean, I never thought this was any kind of an issue, Twitter. I mean, I think James Gunn is metaphorically saying baby Groot is Groot's son. You didn't see a birthing sequence, but Groot sacrificed himself to save the other Guardians. Please see Guardians of the Galaxy to see this scene that happened before your eyes. I don't know why we're talking about this. It's nutty. Sometimes I look at tweets and I'm like, who are these people and what do they eat for breakfast to even have these conversations about inanimate objects and birthing and this. Look, Groot is like the metaphorical son. Yes, it's baby Groot. It's the essence of Groot. He transferred over some kind of twig of life and it became a new Groot. It doesn't have old Groot's memories.
But that is the question, though. It's like if it's
Groot.
part of a tree. If a tree grows in the forest, nobody sees it. If it's just a little twig, but it grows here's the example I use: is that I am my father's son. My father and I have the same name. We're both Mark Edward Ellis. I'm Junior. So you could say I am Mark Ellis, and then he could say I'm Mark Ellis, but we're not the same person.
I thought you were
I'm the
Mark
son.
Good Enough Ellis.
I'm just barely good enough. I am Mark below average Ellis. This was surprising to me. me, Clark, just the fact that this would be revealed. Is this something that we need to explore a little more in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 now that it's out there?
I mean, no. Even, but also, Baby Groot has a different name. It's Baby Groot. Like, it's in the name. I was just as confused as you were. And James on Twitter said the internet is like Groundhog Day every time I point out first Groot died. But also, he makes a good point, and I think that it's actually pretty important. He says adult Groot's sacrifice actually meant something.
Yeah.
And that's something that, like, we, with Coulson kind of being fake dead or whatever it is, that's something that the Marvel Universe has sort of been criticized for. And so the fact that, like the Groot that we know and love from Volume 1 is gone, but in a way is able to live on, I feel like that's a really nice way to still get your cute merchandising. So
Right.
you can do this. And you can Baby Groot dance,
Right.
and then, but also have, grown-up Groots sacrifice count.
Well, no, it's teenage Groot in like Infinity Wars. It's not
That's
like
right.
it's not even baby Groot anymore. He grew. It's like a tree. It
He
grows. It's like
Groot?
just like human beings. He's Groot. Yeah, he grew.
And I guess his daddy's going to be Star-Lord. I mean, he doesn't, hopefully Star-Lord is a better father than Star-Lord had. I mean, Reilly, you look at this, and I think the collective reaction we all had was you see it like, and then you start thinking about it, you're like, okay. I think we're all going to accept this.
Yeah, I knew Groot was dead too. I saw Guardians, and
Yeah,
I remember James Gunn actually saying it. But I got caught up in the internet wave of like, this is mind bending. We got to do videos and news and write think pieces. And I was like, okay. The news to me was that it was his son. For James Gunn to put it that way, I was like, well, that's cool. I like it, and great. Perfect. So we have adolescent Groot in Infinity War. He's giving lip to Star-Lord for playing video games. So we're going to see that, he's going to be bigger. And by Infinity War 4 or Avengers 4, he's going to be back to tall Groot. And here he is.
Clark, you like when heroes sacrifice themselves because it makes it worthy. Would you root for Kevin Costner to die at the end of The Bodyguard? Do you think that makes that
Jeez.
song that much more important?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This
What
took
a
a dark
question.
turn.
Yeah.
See? See? It's not as easy when it's not a tree, is it? Internet.
Right. But you know what? For Whitney, that sacrifice.
And the song at the end, that's
and
what I'm
the
saying.
song.
It means something. You guys can
I just
follow
feeling
James
it.
Gunn
Yeah.
at James
Channeling
Gunn.
it.
Ash Crossan is at Ash Crossan. Ali Slade is at Glitter Geek Alley. Langley Amnelia is one of our fans also chiming in. It was so fun to see this exchange. And I like a good-natured Twitter exchange. I think everybody's a little bit better for it. But I'm going to call BS on a lot. Maybe not Schnepp, and maybe not right, but a lot of people saying, I knew Groot was dead the whole time. That's like there's 10 million people claim they were at Woodstock. 300,000 people are at Woodstock.
Yeah, but guess what? I saw the movie. Oh wait, millions of people. Honestly, it went down that little rabbit hole where I was like, yeah, of course Groot died, and this is like metaphorically his son. I don't think it was like there was a birthing sequence that got cut out or anything. It's like, look, it's like reborn. It's like,
From one highly praised comic book franchise to another one, or at least one of the stars therein, Boyd Holbrook, who got rave reviews for his performance as Pierce in the Logan movie, as well as his role in Narcos, amongst others, is now in talks to write, produce, and star in a movie that is called The Thirst. It's a futuristic thriller about a world where water is suddenly scarce. It's going to be released by 20th Century Fox, or at least that would be the premise. He originally pitched the idea to Fox executive producer Matt Reilly, not related to Mark Reilly, while they were working on The Predator. There's no release date that's yet been set, but I'm very interested in this for a number of different reasons. Clark, I want to start with you because Boyd Holbrook is a guy who has been an acclaimed actor for about a decade in Hollywood. He had a great performance early on in his career in Milk, amongst other things. So now he wants to write this movie. Is it more about what the movie that he's writing is, or just about a star who's looking to do other things in Hollywood behind the camera?
Well, personally, as somebody who both is in front of the camera and behind the camera, I do not like boxes. And I think that a lot, look, you work in this business long enough, especially as an actor, if you want to start playing roles that you want to play, sometimes you got to create them for yourself. And I think that's, if anything, that's what the whole digital revolution of the last 15 years and entertainment revolution has shown us is creators need to be creating all of the time. And if somebody's not going to cast you or see you, because so much of Hollywood is how people see you and then they never unsee you that way again. So I kind of take my hat off to him for getting into the ring and really pitching and talking about it and writing the script and producing. Like, this is clearly a passion project, so I hope it works out for him.
I love that you brought up the idea of an actor taking their career into their own hands, because I think that actors and actresses might sometimes feel more fatigued than we do as fans with the fact that, oh, now I'm in a comic book movie, so I have to do this huge blockbuster. If you want to do something that is different, that's a little off the beaten path, then you go out there and write it. The same could be said for our boy, the bodyguard, Kevin Costner, when he wanted to do Waterworld. This movie sounds a lot like Waterworld. That's my question to you, Mark Reilly. Is this too much like Waterworld to pitch, to make? Is it going to feel similar? Will this eventually end up in a DVD combo pack with Waterworld?
No, it's totally different. Waterworld was a world overrun by water. That's a lot of water. Water's scarce in this one.
I like what you did there.
You see what I did there?
Yep.
And this is that's great. Now post-apocalyptic, are we going to get like these? What do they call them? The burners on the whatever those guys were. Who knows how the execution is? We don't even have a director yet. We don't. Obviously, Boyd's going to star in it. But I love that he did this for all the reasons you said, Clarke. And it makes sense. He's standing on the set of Predator, and he has a great relationship with my brother-in-law or whatever Matt Reilly is. Well done, though. He spells it the right way.
In Guardians of the Galaxy terms, you all grew from the same tree.
We did grow from the same tree. He was a sapling that I put in there, and he grew to an executive. But I love that he pitched it. I love that they were probably sitting there talking. He's like, I have an idea. And he maybe is struggling as an actor, has been writing screenplays for the very reasons you gave, Clarke. We bring up Good Will Hunting all the time. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, they wanted to make something happen. They wrote their screenplay. The rest is history. So I bet he's had a number of screenplays that he's written while he was struggling. He's got some clout now. He was able to make friends with Matt Reilly on the set. This is great. And, we don't have a lot from the premise yet, so it'll be interesting to track this development.
Schnepp, as a veteran of this world and a captain of this industry, Boyd Holbrook is an actor, and now all of a sudden he's going to be writing a movie and exec producing. What is he in for as far as surprises or pitfalls, or is it actually going to be easier because he's writing his own material?
It's probably going to be a little bit easier because he's writing his own material. And, I'm always shocked and surprised. Sometimes I should be used to it by now because I'm so old that it's like people constantly and continually put people in boxes, like you said. So many people who are in the entertainment business are multifaceted. So many people who are in front of the camera also have their own ideas, have their stories or characters that they want to see, or a story or situation that they want to play out. They either want to produce something, maybe they want to make a kid's book, maybe they want to be in a non-water world action futuristic adventure. Like Holbrook, he's like, I got a pitch for you. It's anti-water world. Look, I want to hear it. Everybody's thirsty. It's like, look, whatever his pitch is, I'm in. I like science fiction, and it's cool. I think it's cool that, when you get a chance, like he had a chance. He's in Predator now. He did a breakout role in Logan. He's got a little spotlight on him. That's when you jump and you're like, hey, I've got this idea. If you could connect with someone who also likes your idea, someone who's a producer who has an ability to maybe produce and help make that thing happen. I mean, to me, I think the story is I'm interested in seeing what happens. Who do they get to direct Thirst? So, The Thirst.
Which world would you rather live in? To the panel, would you rather live in a world where water is too scarce, or would you rather live in a Waterworld universe where it's overrun with water and you got to live on a boat like a creepy uncle?
Well, I think
Drink your own pee.
Is it a party boat? Is the question.
You kids come on the party boat. I got plenty of nieces and nephews.
Isn't it the deal with Waterworld is that yes, it's overrun by water, but also there's no fresh water, so fresh water is also scarce.
I'll spot you a Brita filter. And a box of backups.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't want to live on a boat.
I'd rather live on a boat. I don't get seasick. I'd enjoy it as long as it's not like a Carnival Cruise Lines where there's a bunch of hooligans beating each other up.
I could totally see you living on a boat.
Oh, I would love to live on a boat.
In the best way possible.
Like a Bruce Willis in Striking Distance, I'd totally be on board with that. Mark Reilly, do you want too much water or too little water?
Too much water. I want to live on a boat. That's come on. That's a dream of mine.
I'm on a boat.
I think live on the boat, but hopefully find one. If it's futuristic, there's got to be contraptions that can filter the water, right? We hope. Boyd, get on that. Put that in there. That's
Well,
a
Kevin
plot
Costner
point.
drank his own pee, so that's what he had to do.
Is that what he did?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Maybe we should
How do
say
you
Kevin
not
Costner
remember?
drank his own
Because
pee.
it
Maybe we
wasn't
should
a
say
good
the
movie.
character he played.
The
drank
character
his-
that Costner played drank his own urine. Watch
Right
the movie
before he
Waterworld.
sacrificed himself
That's right.
for Whitney
And
Houston.
I don't want to live on a boat. I want to live on a gigantic yacht. If I'm forced to live on some kind of weird floating boat, it has to be giant, so I can go from at least to 30 different rooms that I will then create over before I die. I'll make different rooms. Like, this is my mime room. You know.
New studio, new graphics, same old movie talk. The writer of The Imitation Game, Graham Moore, he actually won a Best Adapted Screenplay Oscar for The Imitation Game, is now working on an original feature, and he's actually going to direct this one. It is called Naked is the Best Disguise, in which he will make his directorial debut. One person's memories can be extracted and placed in somebody else's head, and it all comes to a head when an illegal memory dealer is accused of murdering a man that she claims she has not met. I am super interested in this movie, and unfortunately, I still have the taste of transcendence in my mouth as far as like inserting stuff into people's mind or like expanding like that. So I hate bringing the T word up in this conversation, but I get so excited about a sci-fi premise like this. We're coming off seeing Annihilation, which, whatever you want to say about it, I think you can at least give it the credit for being a bold attempt at some really cool, futuristic like sci-fi. I'm excited about what Graham Moore can bring to the table because he started out as a novelist, so he can write original stories. He adapted The Imitation Game, but I think he did a tremendous job with that screenplay. Now writing and directing something original. Jon Schnepp, how do you feel about this so far?
I love it. I mean, look, I'll say the BM word, Black Mirror. I mean, I think, that's something that has dealt with similar type things. So when I read about the premise of Naked is the new disguise, I was like, wow, a feature-length Black Mirror. I love the longer versions of any kind of science fiction story like this. We've already gotten like Sleeves this year with Altered Carbon. There's all these different kinds of ideas of what are you and how replaceable are you, and so I love the idea.
You know that Black Mirror? I think Toby Kebbell's in it, where you can put in somebody else's like the contact lens.
That's what this
sounds a lot
reminded me.
like that.
Yeah,
Is Altered Carbon worth watching? By the way, quickly.
Yes and no. I've gotten through the first 4 episodes and had to take a break, and then saw a bunch of other science fiction films. Everyone told me the last half is better than the first, so I'm totally going to finish it. Just needed a break, and Annihilation is the one to go. If you live in the States, go see that movie in the theater. It is an incredible experience.
Yeah.
If I totally love the ending and absolutely love the film, so I don't want to like pit anyone against each other. I'm just saying, go see the film.
Yeah, Clarke, we feel like the proverbial Scrooge McDuck swimming around in a world of sci-fi golden coins. There's so much to choose from. Where is Naked is the Best Disguise going to fall in there for you think?
Well, I think that this is really cool. And I also think that the idea that I don't know what this budget is. We don't know quite yet. But since he is a first-time director, I think, if I'm not mistaken, then, I'm imagining it's going to be a mid-level science fiction film. And the fact that we are getting back to mid-level science fiction is really, really cool. I don't remember who it was on... it was Cargill. It was C. Robert Cargill on Twitter was pointing out that whether or not you like Cloverfield Paradox, the idea that Netflix is actually embracing medium-level science fiction is really, really great because that's been the complaint in the industry for the last handful of years. It either has to be this enormous, ridiculous, catastrophic budget or this teeny tiny thing where it's less than $1 million. And so this sounds to me like a nice medium-level project, and the more of those we can get, the better. And I agree with you, Schnepp. Like, see Annihilation in the theater, see it with a crowd, because even if you hate it, or if you love it, it's a really cool experience.
Yeah, Studio 8 is the company that's going to be putting this movie out, Reilly, and they seem to be positioning themselves as an A24, something like that for sci-fi, or even a Blumhouse for sci-fi, because they're working on the Robert Rodriguez thriller Hypnotic. Then they also have Alpha, which is more of a prehistoric adventure, coming out this September. Where does this movie fall as far as your interest level going forward?
Well, it's through the roof. When you guys are talking about these mid-level science fiction movies, Cloverfield Paradox didn't stick the landing for me, but they swung for the fences, and I like that. And I was enjoying pieces of that movie, and then when they tried to tie it in with the larger Cloverfield universe, that's where I kind of muddled the water. But the premise of this is incredible. I love the premise. It sounds like it's a writing thing that I adore, like where I can see a lot of twists and turns. I could see they're going to screw with the audience head just based on the premise. So I'm very excited about this. The Imitation Game is a fantastic movie. He did win the Oscar for adapted screenplay, so he's got the chops. I hope this could be another Ex Machina in the making, and have another auteur come to the forefront like Garland did, and I can't wait to see Annihilation. I'm hearing that it's my type of sci-fi movie as well, so I got to see that.
Yeah, you can really mess with the audience's mind watching a movie like this if you can insert somebody else's memories into a different head, and you're just seeing this, and you as the audience, you might never trust this movie until the ending, and you might not even trust the ending of the movie because you're not really sure whose memories you're actually watching. Then you leave the theater, and you don't remember if you've even seen the movie. That's how good it is. Hopefully, we'll see. Well, first looks are one thing, and I don't love the first unofficial images that we see. If somebody took a picture and posted it on Reddit, that's exactly what we got with the Shazam pick. So I'm going to qualify this next story and let you guys know we have an unofficial look at the costume that Zachary Levi is going to be wearing in Shazam, set for release next year. We're going to show it for a quick 5 seconds. You don't want to do it, just do this with your computer screen, and then we'll move on. So go ahead and roll there it is. And I mean, look, it looks a little jingle all the way for me, but that might be what they're going for in the movie. So, I don't want to judge a movie in today's day and age based on an unofficial image simply because there's so many things that you can do in post to dress a costume up. Don't believe me? Ask Apocalypse in the X-Men movie where we saw him and he looked like Power Rangers. He looked a lot cooler in the actual theatrical release. So with Shazam, Jon Schnepp, is this a more fun, family-centric movie as the way that DC has been pitching it to audiences? That this is going to be a different take, although it takes place in the same universe as all these other movies?
Sure. I mean, Zachary Levi was last night, while everyone was crying about Baby Groot and all this other stuff, he's like, hey, look who else is in the movie. It's a picture of like an action figure of Batman. So it's obviously like Batman and Superman exist in the Shazam universe. I don't know why so many people are like freaked out that he's wearing a Shazam outfit. It looks like Shazam.
There's literally a toy
He wears
on
a
Reilly's
giant
desk
red
that
outfit.
is
There's
that.
literally it looks the same in any time you've ever seen Shazam. That's what he looks like. He's got a dumb red outfit with a yellow thing. He's like, look at my white cape. It's Shazam. I don't know why people are so like, it looks really low rent and shitty. It's like, it looks like Shazam. I don't know. There's nothing really to talk about. It's a side shot, behind the scenes shot of Shazam. So stop crying.
Were you ever high on the comic Shazam just in your history? Is
No.
this a movie that you think should be made?
I wasn't.
No.
I read Superman and Batman. Shazam was like the cheesy, like, hey, he's going to fight that worm guy again. There's the bald doctor. Get out of here. I like Lex Luthor. Look, Shazam, Captain Marvel, whoever you want to call him, was never a big fan of Shazam. In the 80s, he got a little bit of flavor. He got rebooted a little bit. Kingdom Come was the coolest version of Shazam, where he was like using the power of turning into Shazam to like mess with Superman, the lightning bolt transformation stuff. Look, they're going with the family route. They're going with the big route. That's the route to take Shazam. I grew up as a little kid watching Shazam and like a creepy old wizard dude drive around in like an RV, like, let's find adventures. And then the boy, Billy Batson, the young, well, how come he's not in high school? It's like, I'm skipping out with this old man. We're going to solve mysteries. Turn into Shazam. Whatever, check it out. You watch it on YouTube. You can see what I'm talking about. That's Shazam. That's what this guy looks like. They're going to do one better. I think it's going to be a really fun film. Who cares if it's a red outfit?
It's a fun film. Maybe we have a lot of family-type yucks. So Clarke Wolfe, David Sandberg is the one directing this movie, and we know that he's great with horror. He made the Lights Out short. He made the Lights Out feature film. Annabelle, the origin story of that. So why is David Sandberg the right choice to direct Zachary Levi in that costume?
I'll tell you why. My theory is that WB learned a lesson when James Wan made all that Conjuring money for
here
them.
we go.
And then he said, hey guys, I'd like to expand my horizons as a director. And they said, no thanks, you're our horror guy. And he said, cool, I'm gonna go to Universal and make my Fast and Furious movie. And they said, hey, wait a minute, okay.
Right.
Maybe you come back, you keep making those Conjuring movies for us and we'll give you Aquaman. And he said, thanks, beaches. So I think they saw the exact same thing with Sandberg. I think they saw a guy who turned in movies on time and made them for low budgets, and they made zillions of dollars. And I think they went, hey, let's not let this guy go elsewhere. Keep making genre for us, but also, yeah, why don't you take on a big action movie? So I think that's why that's why he's the guy to do this. But can I just say about this picture that as a lady who is on camera, and I tell you, every time I put on an outfit, I am taking pictures of every angle. Like, does it look weird? Is it gonna look weird here? That low side angle shot on Zachary Levi. I was like, what a jerk whoever took that picture, because I've been seeing some of the feedback is, oh, he looks puffy, oh, he's super padded, and I'm like,
People suck.
It's the angle.
Yeah.
It's the angle, first of all. You are not even seeing him from his profile. Calm down.
What
And
I know
leave him
about
alone.
taking pictures of people is that you're supposed to, when you do the selfie or when you do it, you're supposed to do it high.
Exactly,
because
high and down.
You lose
it
my double chin.
slims you.
See, I try to take the
slims
lowest
you.
angle, so I get that Jabba look. I'm like, more gullet. I want a little more gullet. Look, Clarke, you look
More
beautiful.
gullet.
And
Thank
so
you.
does Zachary Levi. Screw all you weirdos.
He does. And the last thing I want to say is Zach Levi is an uber nerd. If they put
Yeah.
him in a costume that looked stupid, he would not, I don't think he would walk out on set.
He looks like Shazam.
I mean, I know. I agree. I think he looks like Shazam. I'm just saying that I think that Zach Levi is aware of the universe. He knows the brand. He knows the character.
Yeah.
And if they put him in a, Batman and Robin suit, I think he'd be like, no, we're not doing this.
I think what makes people skittish, Riley, is that you see a movie like Batman and Robin, what they brought up for Batman Forever, where they didn't take itself as seriously as we, the comic book fans, wanted it to. But that's Batman. Batman is a serious, darker character. Shazam, if he's going to have a lot of light and fun, you want someone like Zachary Levi playing that role. You want a lot of bright colors in there. This is not like you're taking some gritty, realistic character from the mean streets and then you're putting him into this Jingle All the Way movie. That's the tone they're going for, so it looks like they stuck the landing.
Yes, and it's the source material. This guy is a kid in a Superman body. That's essentially what he is. He has the mind of a child, and he has all these powers. So when Zach Levi was first announced, you first went, huh? And then you think of his body of work, and you go, yep, that's perfect. And this is David F. Sandberg's worst nightmare, because I go back to a tweet that he put out there. He started production on Shazam. He showed some Coke cans as he's doing his pre-production, and then some internet troll goes, sasses him because of a plot point that leaked from this point over here on Reddit that somebody found in the sewer or something. And he goes, you're judging the movie without even seeing a single frame. You're judging the movie before there's a trailer. You're judging the movie before I can show you anything. So please wait. Mm-hmm. And then this guy over here takes a picture. He's probably an extra, and he takes a picture and he posts it on Reddit, and everybody judges it. And David F. Sandberg's like, God, you haven't seen it in motion. It's not official. It isn't lit. It isn't sanctioned by Warner Brothers and DC and David and Zach and the whole production, and everybody's judged it, and it sucks.
Mark,
And
but here's my point about that photo is like, I don't understand why everyone's judging it.
I don't either.
It
looks like Shazam.
It's like even the front image is going to look just like that, only it's
Yes.
him in the front with the weird,
But
big
it-
triangle of the, hey, I got a Shazam. It's
At the same point, too, the Shazam happening right now, it's like the first DC movie where they righted the ship somewhat. They're like, get away from the darkness and
Right.
the growling and the Superman frowns and all these different things, and we're gonna lighten it up, and we're gonna be very colorful. And I almost spilled my
Not
coffee
again.
again.
Not
I almost spilled my coffee again. And every time I'm talking about superhero movies in DC, I do this a
Yeah, I
lot,
know, right?
and I spill coffee. And I'm getting on the verge of a rant. But
For you to sit on this set
Yeah.
and insinuate that Reddit might not be the cure for all that's bad and sick in the world is shocking to me.
you're putting words in my
It's
mouth.
the cause, Mark.
You're putting words on my mouth.
It's
I'm just
the
saying,
cause.
pump the brakes. Like everybody, and you kind of want to avoid these looks sometimes, but then being what we do, I get tagged 18 times on Twitter going, did you see this?
But I love
did.
behind the scenes photos. I
do too.
That's the sad state of the internet now, where everyone's so judgmental. It's like, and a lot of people don't even understand. Like, I feel like our culture sometimes is getting dumber, where people are so reactionary.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you just hold back a little, moron, before you start commenting on stuff? You moron, you idiot.
So you like seeing it, because I hate
I
seeing
love
it because
seeing
I
it.
know the studio didn't approve it, and I just think it's unfair. If you're working on a piece of art, I'd never show anybody a joke that I'm working on that like I wrote down on a cocktail napkin until I think it's actually ready to be out there in front of the world. This is clearly not a
Sure.
fully formed joke.
Well, what I'm saying is, I like seeing behind the scenes pictures, whether they're sanctioned or if there's like the first shot I ever saw of Iron Man was taken from across the freeway from some weird sweaty who was like hiding out in a parking garage. It's like, I'm still here. They haven't caught me yet. Look, it's Iron Man. And he's like walking. It's like a weird side shot. Look kind of plasticky of Iron Man. I was like, all right, he looks cool. That's all I needed to see. I knew they were going to fix it. I knew that wasn't a fucking shot from the goddamn film. Why not? Everybody needs to just relax.
We just had this with Captain Marvel, too.
Yeah, we did.
Like,
Yes.
Brie Larson walks out in a green costume,
Right.
and that wasn't sanctioned. That was another similar thing. But I don't, with these images, you're worried, is the studio going to pull it down, and all these different things. But did Captain Marvel land a little better with the fans? Because then what I saw was speculation of her different costumes, like, oh, this is before she gets the red costume, and this is when she meets the Kree.
Well, I
and blah,
remember
blah,
seeing
blah.
a couple of like early tweets about that, where obviously people who weren't familiar with the comic book history were like,
Yeah.
"Why is it green?
Right.
Oh, they ruined another." It was like people starting to get ranty.
There you go.
Until people were corrected, like, "No, it's from the Kree are all green. The original Captain Marvel is green. You don't know what you're talking about. Why don't you relax?"
Right.
Okay, I think I'll relax because I'm about to get upset over nothing.
And Brie Larson, to be fair, had a better angle, according to Clarke Wolfe, than Zachary Levi did with her first image, but neither one were fully sanctioned. And I do, at the end, agree with Riley's point that if this wasn't extra taking this picture, studios, sets, you got to treat your extras better, okay? You got to give them more than a can of Red Vines and some Shasta. You got to give them the full craft services treatment. Then they will be less inclined to take unsolicited pictures on your site. I'm going to remind you guys, at the end of this show, we're going to save some time for your live Twitter questions. So go ahead and start tweeting us right now at Collider Video. Use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk. And this is not the only show that we do on Collider Video. Later on today, we're going to have an all-new episode of Jon Schnepp's hosted show, The Sweatiest in All the Land. Heroes, what do we got on tap?
You're going to talk about that Shazam thing. I'm barely going to talk about it. We covered it on Movie Talk. I'm going to breeze by it because, to me, like I said, he looks like Shazam. People are like, I saw a weird bend of the... What are you, a seamstress now? Why don't you relax and shut up? So anyway, we're not going to barely talk about that. We've got a lot of other things to talk about. So many things, I don't want to ruin it. Just watch Heroes later today.
Watch Heroes later on today. And a quick reminder that March 15th is the day. Southern California is the place. North Hollywood, the El Portal Theater, is where the Movie Trivia Schmodown live event is going to be happening. 2 huge matches. The Wild Bear is going to be taking on the Real Rejects. You know that's going to be entertaining, if not a whole lot of correct questions answered. And then JTE versus John Roca, 2 of the greatest competitors in the history of the league. Christian and I will be on hand to announce it. You guys can get tickets right now. Go to Christian or I's social media, or you can check out the link in this vid's description. Get on that right now because this baby is going to sell out. We're going to have a lot of Schmodown luminaries there as well. Enjoy it. It all takes place March 15th. We're going to move on to your live Twitter questions. Thank you guys so much for your tweets, for your comments. We appreciate you guys being so complimentary about our new look here today. And as we continue on, and I have seen a lot of people in the chat room, yes, RIP the sidebar. It it hung on for a while, but
There's talk of a
baby sidebar.
Of a baby sidebar.
Oh, no.
We
God.
took a nugget of the sidebar and we planted it, and there's going to be a video later of it dancing.
But,
Right.
but real sidebar sacrifice was
Right.
still valid.
Yeah.
It was absolutely.
And that's the deleted scene.
Perfect,
You'll have to
Clark.
tune in. You have to show up to the Schmodown to see the deleted scene of the death of the sidebar. I cried.
You know,
Yeah.
it all started a couple years ago when I made a joke about the sidebar being drunk, and now to see that it's grown into something that all of us here at the panel can enjoy, well, that just warms an old codger's heart. Your first live Twitter question comes from Chris at Markel, and he says, with Annihilation, Mother, and A Quiet Place, should genre fans give Paramount credit for their recent artistic endeavors? Clarke Wolfe, what do you think about this slew of movies that Paramount has?
I would actually. So Mother is tricky because I don't really like Mother. I think everybody needs to experience it and decide for themselves. But something that one of the executives said when Mother came out, and I agree with, was look, a lot of time. Look, we spent $30 million on a weird experimental art piece. Who else does that? If this had shown up on Netflix, Netflix would have been lauded as, oh, they support the creators, but instead we're told you guys made a shitty movie. So I do actually think that it's cool, and I do think whether it's smaller things like A Quiet Place or something like Annihilation, which again is so bold and really, really brave to be a mainstream release. Like, my hat is off to them.
That's right, and A Quiet Place, from the trailers I've seen, that movie looks like it could be one of the best of the year. It could be that sleeper hit, like a Get Out or a Split that we're still talking about at the end of the year, Schnepp.
Yeah, I know I keep referencing Black Mirror, but A Quiet Place feels like a feature-length Black Mirror. Aren't we all living in a feature-length Black Mirror
We
right
are,
now? It feels
Schnepp.
like that sometimes. But yeah, I mean, hats off to Paramount. I agree with what you were saying. I think that they're willing to take chances. I saw Mother. I hated Mother. But you know what? I do respect Darren Aronofsky as a filmmaker. He took a chance. At least in my opinion, it didn't work. It's a neat experimental film. It might be shown at my old alma mater, School of the Art Institute of Chicago, whilst on acid. It's a special, it's like, here's a special trip class that you need to take, and we're going to show you a bunch of trippy films. Annihilation might be part of it. Mother would be the very end when you're like at the weird psychedelic high, just to give you nightmares forever. So I don't know. I mean, Paramount spending $30 million on an experimental film, they're willing to take chances, and that's all I can say. That's great.
Don't drop acid, kids. Cut it off after you're hooked on Fun Dip. Mark Reilly, do you like what Paramount's doing right now? Because, I mean, they brought up Cloverfield, too, which they sold off to Netflix. But
Yeah.
Paramount has commissioned a lot of these original things. I know that we always talk about how Paramount's looking for another huge franchise to partner up along with Mission Impossible. But these smaller independent movies, we like seeing them made.
Yeah, I kind of halfway give credit to them, and the other half for their big blockbuster movies. I'm looking at them kind of under the microscope because Transformers is just get rid of it. It lost so much money, and now they're looking. The rumors are they're going to reboot sooner or later. When they sell off Cloverfield, at first I'm like, what are you doing? You don't have your franchises. But then I saw the finished product, and I'm like, that's why. Okay. I can understand it going to Netflix. It worked there for me, at least. Annihilation, I got to see, but I like that they are swinging for the fences with Mother and Annihilation. That is good. Are there two separate things happening at the top where there's a smaller kind of independent arm that they're taking chances with? A Quiet Place, I can't wait to see. That looks just like the horror movie up my alley. So yeah, I'll give them a little credit for keep doing those movies. You got to keep going and swinging for the fences. I'd much rather have them make an Annihilation or A Quiet Place or a Mother than a sixth Transformers movie. Like, absolutely,
Hear.
keep doing those movies. It's just their bottom line is going to get affected. They're looking at the results, 500 million less than Extinction for Transformers 5. That's going to affect everything in the long run. So we'll see what happens in the future.
That's right. Hey, go see these movies, and hopefully Paramount will keep cranking them out. One more Twitter question, and this comes from Kieran Smith. What video game would you most like to have as a movie? This can be any video game, but my qualifier to add on to Kieran's question is that it cannot be a video game that has already been turned into a movie. As much as I love Mortal Kombat, and that is an all-time classic game or film, we cannot have that. And no, you can't cheat and say Mortal Kombat 2, because in my world, Mortal Kombat Annihilation never happened. Mark Reilly.
Oh, geez. Okay, Russian Attack. Yeah? Yeah, nobody knows
I don't know
Russian
what the hell
Attack.
that is.
This is a Nintendo game, and the Rush, it's not Russian.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I
Scared
know.
me. I was like, it's
It's not
kind of hitting
Russian.
close to home.
It's Rush, N, the letter N, and Attack.
Rush in attack.
Rush
Yeah,
in, attack.
You rush in and then you
I
attack.
gotcha.
Got it.
I was at a blank. I was like trying to think of those old, good Nintendo video games. But it's a cool video game.
It feels
It's
like
just-
a Power Pad game.
it's
Was
the
that a
same-
Power Pad game?
It's the old Nintendo games where you had Super Mario Brothers and Contra, and I know Contra is getting a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Contra is getting a movie. It's like Contra, but it's behind enemy lines. You could do a Russian spy thriller thing. There you go.
Up, right, down, left, right.
That's
So
it.
The
Yep.
BABA selects that. I
Yep.
got it right. Clarke Wolfe, what is the video game movie that we need to see?
So, as a non-gamer, there is one game that I love, and it is super fun. It's called Limbo, and this is the one. Yeah, Cody knows, and it's black and white. It's like that old German expressionist. Yep, exactly. Like kind of imagery, and it's puzzles. It's this little boy trying to rescue who we think is his sister, but we don't actually know their relationship. Or maybe we do. We do know that it's his sister. We don't know who's dead. We don't know how she died. If she's dead, is he dead? We don't know. But he's got to solve all these crazy puzzles, and it's like spiders that are gonna kill you, and
frightening.
it's really, really cool, and it's really fun because you have to think while you play it. But I think it would be a great movie in the vein of maybe Paranorman, like we were talking about yesterday, or Coraline, or something like that. I think it'd be really fun.
Clark, I am stuck in Limbo. I've thrown my controller at the wall so many times that I gave up on Limbo because I wanted to keep my sanity.
love it. That's why
I'm
I
the kind of
love
person who yells at the screen when I'm watching television, and also when I'm playing games. I'm very vocal, and I'm an angry person.
You?
Yes, I know you'd never figure it out.
can't imagine.
So yeah, I'm still stuck at this little
that's
area.
Why Ralph wrecks it.
Yeah.
I got to move something to get the power plants to turn all their lights on. That's where I'm stuck. So anybody on Twitter, who's watching, comment, how do I get out of it? I got to move these tanks around.
The boulders.
Oh my God. So anyway, yeah, I would say Qbert is the movie I want to see turned into.
You know what? You laugh, but Qbert could be $1 billion
No,
franchise.
I'm not
That's gonna
joking.
appeal to kids.
And he was in Wreck-It Ralph, so I feel like Qbert has been an underserved character. I was also going to say maybe Dig Dug, but it's a little too violent towards those creatures. You got to pump them up and like, I'm just maybe not going to blow you up. I'm just pump you up a little bit more. It's a little torturous. Witcher's one I want to see.
Yeah,
by
somebody
Eli Roth.
I'd like to see as far as like a more of a kid-friendly movie would be Earthworm Jim. All mine are going to be from Sega Genesis. And
Oh, yeah.
the two I really want to see like huge franchise movies, Altered Beast and Golden Axe. Golden Axe, you could play as the wizard, the dwarf.
Warrior
it
needs
was
food.
Awesome.
Hungry.
Yeah.
Golden
About
Axe
to
and
die.
Altered Beast
Yep.
were fantastic. We need to see movies of those. And until we get those, I guess we'll just keep wishing and tweeting and talking about it here on Movie Talk. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. My name is merely Mark Ellis. You guys get tickets for my upcoming Portland, Oregon comedy show at Helium Comedy Club at markellislive.com. On behalf of my incredible crew, you guys did such a great job. This is everybody in the control room getting all these new graphics together, getting everything set up for this new launch of a rebranded Movie Talk. So happy to have you guys on board. Collider Heroes is going to be up later today on the channel. And until tomorrow, this is Mark Ellis signing off for Collider Movie Talk.
Warrior needs food.
Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.